Hey everyone, thank you all for tuning back in. I am so excited to talk all things travel with you today. So, I actually flew Spirit for the first time ever, and I tell you, that was an experience. That was an experience that I would not like to experience again. I get it. I get it. I flew them for the first time this year and I just don't know if I could do it. I know I sound like a snob, like a flight snob, and I am. I'm not even going to lie about it. I am. And I feel like it is important to be comfortable on an airplane, to feel safe, to feel taken care of. And I did not feel like that, feel comfortable. And for me, that's really important, comfort on an airline, right? On an airplane, because I'm someone who needs to have like comfortability in my seat. I need leg space. And yes, I am very petite, but I am tall. And so Spirit does not work for me. And I remember my friend telling me, like, hey, Ellie, you'll be fine. You'll be fine on Spirit as long as you don't fly that long. My flight was like 2 hours and a half each time, maybe four max on one of them. And then she was like, oh, you're small, you'll fit fine. And she's a thick girl, right? She's a thick woman. And I was just like, I sat in that Spirit seat, that Airbus, right? I get why they call it the Airbus or the bus of the sky, whatever they call it. I sat in that chair. It feels like a picnic fold-up chair that was glued, gorilla glued down. I know that's how you guys feel. It feels like a fold-up cheap chair glued down to the airline. Spirit, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to talk all this trash, but this is all honesty. Like, I was just like, wow. I mean, at the same time, it's a cheap budget airline, so you get what you pay for, right? You get what you pay for, but I have flown Ryanair. Ryanair, I want to know if it's actually the equivalent of Spirit to you guys. For those of you who have flown Ryanair and have flown Spirit Airlines, would you say they are equal? Because I've flown Ryanair, but I honestly cannot remember what their seat is like. I do remember it being small. Their flights are way cheaper than Spirit, right? I've always flown super cheap. Like I've gotten flights for like $20 on Ryanair. I don't know if you guys have gotten flights that cheap on Spirit. I see Spirit prices here and there, but I normally see like 50, 60, 70. I'm not sure, but I personally think the flights are cheaper on Ryan. Um, I do know that their weight, right? How much you carry, maybe it's the same. I don't remember the conversion right now in my head from kilos to pounds, but that drives me insane about Ryan. However, flying from one country to another in Europe for like $20, I'll do what I got to do. Here in the States, like prices are higher. So Spirit prices are still cheap. But honestly, the experience, I don't know if I could do it again because Ryan, though I cannot tell you play by play kind of what my experience was, I've never felt like I would never fly them again. I've never had that feeling. I've always felt like, sure, I'll fly them again. Until this day, I look at tickets from now and then to see, if I'm or when I plan to go to Europe, like what those numbers may be like, or if there's even flights from that city to the next city I plan to go to. But Spirit, honestly, like I don't have intentions of flying them. It just really depends. This time around, I flew them for the first time because I was originally supposed to go to Atlanta, canceled my flight, which was on a different airline. And when I was rebooking to go to Houston instead, um, it kind of worked with the schedule. And then I also never flew them. So I was like, okay, I guess this will be my first time, right? It fit the schedule, the time, and I didn't want to spend too much this time around. I already had spent a lot on different stuff. And so I was like, okay. But in reality, right? I travel a lot. If you follow me on Instagram, if you watch my videos, right? I've done a lot of travel. My goal is to always do about two minimum big trips, right? A year. Thanks to COVID, that's not the way in which I travel is not the same. However, like the goal is still to do two big trips in the year. So I have flown different airlines and I do have preferences. I do have my favorites and I will pay more for comfortability. I will pay more for security. And when I mean security, I mean in terms of like feeling safe on the flight because wait till I tell you about Spirit. But security, and also because of customer service, right? I've dealt with customer service with different airlines, and some have treated me better than others. And I've actually gotten um, some people actually care, right? Some airlines actually care about resolving the issue or addressing it. I've had other airlines that are some of the top airlines or most expensive airlines not do anything about issues that I had with them, that they really should have addressed. And so, granted, I haven't gotten to that level with Spirit to know what customer service is like, but I must say, before I go into anything, I must say their staff was super sweet and super nice and fun. And I mean, when you're flying an Airbus or the bus of the sky or whatever they call themselves, right? That catchphrase, you have to you have to kind of find some balance somewhere, and something got to be up here. You can't have everything down here, right? The price is low, which is good, but we get what we pay for, right? We get what we pay for. But their staff was super nice, super sweet. And I was like, after that experience, you got to have a staff like this, because come on. So I get on the flight, right? I sit down and I'm like, wow, this is really small. And because I'm a small person, right? I'm very thin. Because of that, I said, wow, anyone who weighs probably even more, even 5 pounds more than me, I don't understand how you fit in that chair, how you even sit in it. Right. So the fact that the seat felt so cheap, I felt like I was on a old city bus in New York City, a old, just rundown city bus, right? Them chairs look like if you pulled it hard enough, it will come out, right? Glued with Gorilla Glue, but maybe like old Gorilla Glue that still don't stick right, because it stayed well, but it was like a flimsy seat, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you fly Spirit and you don't feel that way, I want to know, because that's my experience. That's what I think. The tray, the fold out tray is super small. Everything was tight. I am super tall. Well, I'm not super tall, but I got long legs, right? So I do need leg space, and I didn't have that. So I'm someone who needs space on a flight. I need a little bit of room to shift and wiggle. I get uncomfortable pretty quick and get a lot of discomfort. And so I really didn't have room for that. I really just was like this the whole time, and there just wasn't enough space, right? But that's what I paid for, so that was part of the experience, right? So it is what it is. So I always ask friends, like, what is so great about Spirit? Like, what do you like? What don't you like? Because I've always heard a lot of things about Spirit, which is what always made me avoid taking them. I've always avoided them at all costs because I'm just afraid to fly them. In all honesty, I've been afraid to fly them. And so I have friends who say it's not that bad, and some that say it's good. I've been told on the good side, if you're not flying for that long, it's okay. If it's a short flight, um, of course, the cheap, right? The tickets being super cheap, those are great things. Then on the other hand, you have some of the other stories of, like, don't fly them, it's uncomfortable, it's too tight, like you got to pay for everything. And like one of the crazy things I was told was like, get ready for the crash landing. I was like, what? Spoke to a friend literally before I got on the flight. I was like, yo, I can't believe I'm flying Spirit. This is my first time ever. Everyone's all gasping, like, oh my God. And I'm just like, yeah, let's see how this goes. And they just said, just be ready for that crash landing. And they laughed. And I was like, okay. So I'm on the flight, tight and everything. I'm tired. I knock out. And at this point, I'm so tired. So I really kind of don't know what's going on. But I remember the pilot speaking making an announcement on the speaker and saying, like, we'll be getting ready for landing in about 20 minutes. And I remember that I go back to sleep and I wake up. Well, I didn't wake up yet, but I'm kind of about to wake up. And all of a sudden, I just feel like, and just like, and I'm like, oh, wow, we landed. So I wake up and I look out the window, and like 5-10 minutes pass, and I'm like, why are we pulling up to the gate? And I really look out the window and I notice that we actually didn't land. We were just experiencing turbulence. And it was the fact that my friend told me, like, there was a crash landing. It literally felt like a crash landing. And I was just like, wow, like I really thought we landed. We didn't land till like a whole other hour after. So my flight had a connecting, right? So going, I rode on two different Spirit Airlines. Coming back, I had a connecting again, same way I rode on another two. So I basically got on four Spirit airline flights in one trip. So that was great. So every time I kept preparing myself for this crash landing, that just never happened. Um, so on the last half of my leg coming back into New York, I'm on the flight and I finally experienced this crash landing. Finally experienced it. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I really thought like this is the end, like this is how I die. And I just kept thinking like even on the other flights, like, wow, like why did I do this to myself? Like, am I setting myself up? Is the most worst thing to really have even in your mind as you're flying. I love flying. I love going up. I love when we come back down to land. It's my favorite part. So we land on that last piece and we like crashed. I mean, I don't know what a plane crash feels like, but honestly, that was a crash. We crashed down and we just skid. And I know if you've ever been on a plane, whether it's turbulence or something like where you just get scared, even if you're not on a plane, and something is just like, what is happening? Like, oh my goodness, this is it. And you do that look and you just lock eyes with some random person like what is going on, or oh my god, I know this is not about to happen, and they give you that look back like oh my goodness, right? And you lock eyes and y'all just have that same thought with no speaking. That's what I had on the plane, and I was like, wow, I just experienced this crash landing I've been told about. Like, this is crazy. And it's like, okay, this is what they're talking about. It was super scary, super scary. I've ridden on other flights that have had some crazy turbulence crash landings. I've flown on airlines that did other crazy things, and I was just like, wow, y'all really trying to kill us. But I will tell you that story on another one, right? And this is why I'm kind of uh kind of a flight snob, right? I care about comfortability. I care about not just the price, but I want to be comfortable. I want to know that in the event I have an issue and I address the airline, they will handle it. And I've flown different airlines that don't. Now, I've never flown Spirit. I've never had an issue with them. Even with these flights, I didn't have an issue. So it's not like they customer service wasn't good or anything. So I can't speak on that. But just the experience of sitting in the aircraft and the experience of that crash landing was enough for me to be like, just continue to avoid them at all costs. Um, for me personally. Now, will I fly them again? I don't have intentions to. However, depending on my schedule, because sometimes I do need to be at a certain place within a certain time, and some airlines will not have flights that land or depart at a certain time. So if there is a time where it's like, okay, you have to go on Spirit because of X, Y, and Z, I will bite the bullet and do it. Right? I'll bite the bullet and do it. But do I have future plans? No. I really wanted Spirit to prove me wrong. I really wanted them to be amazing and impeccable. And just, I mean, that customer service was good. I can't front on that. But the flight experience, I was just like, this just makes sense. Like the Airbus, the bus of the skies, or whatever they call themselves. Like, this just makes sense. Because I literally felt like I was on a city bus flying through the air. Like the chairs felt like that too. A city bus, an old city bus flying through the air with Howdy on the wing. So if you've flown Spirit before, I'd love to know what your experience is like. Do share. Would you fly them again? Like, I'm all here for budget, right? I've flown Ryanair before. It's a budget airline that flies through Europe. I'll fly them again. But Spirit, I don't know. I'm not gonna say 100% no, because there's always that slim chance. But if I can avoid it, I will continue to. I have my preferences, and I will explain to you my preferences in the next video and why, and maybe that'll help you, right? Sometimes it's important to pick quality over quantity, but at the same time, I'm all here for the budget, right? I'm here to give you guys budget tips and tricks. These are things that I've done or used in the past to make travel easier, cheaper, more fun, just to maximize, right? Life is about enjoying, being safe, and maximizing on everything. So continue to check out my videos. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite airline to fly and why, right? Leave that in the comments, and I hope to see you soon. Stay tuned.